Welcome, everyone, to the Melchizedek Passover covenant confirming meal and night of watches. We observe each Passover with expectancy of the greater Exodus described in Isaiah chapter 11. Passover is the night of watches and feast of fleeing. Yahusha, as our Passover lamb, ushered in the shift back to the order of Melchizedek. We will see tonight that the Melchizedeks reigned before the Aaronic Levitical Priesthood that was established to implement the book of the law, the harsh schoolmaster after the sin of the golden calf. This was intended to be only for a season until Yahusha would once again restore the Melchizedek priesthood back to its reigning position. To do so would require a new blood ratified covenant that would consist of the four elements, as was with the first marriage covenant at the foot of Mount Sinai. Those four elements of a blood ratified covenant, we all know, consist of a proposal, an acceptance, blood ratification, and a covenant confirming meal. Tonight, we affirm our vow to be in covenant with our high priest, Yahusha HaMashiach, the son of the Elohim of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the Elohim of the living and not of the dead. We do so before Yahweh and before one another by partaking of the new covenant elements of bread and wine and observing the priestly foot washing, signifying being washed and set apart by the blood of the Lamb. In Exodus chapter 12, verse 42, this is where we read, "It is a night of watches. It is a night of watches unto Yahweh for bringing them out of the land of Mitzrayim, out of the land of Egypt." This is that night of watches unto Yahweh for all the children of Israel throughout their generations. Israel's journey to new life began by being sealed by the blood of the Lamb. So likewise, we too must be sealed by the blood of the Lamb so that the death angel will see the blood and pass over. Tonight, we proclaim we have said yes to his proposal of the new covenant ratified by his blood as we partake in the Melchizedek covenant confirming meal. In Revelation chapter 9, verse 4, "And it was said to them that they shall not harm the grass of the earth or any green matter or any tree, but only those men who do not have the seal of Elohim upon their foreheads." And in Matthew chapter 13, verse 30, we know that the wheat and the tares are growing side by side. And in Matthew 13:30, we read, "Let both grow together until the harvest. And at the time of the harvest, I shall say to the reapers, first gather the darnel, the tares, and bind them in bundles to burn them, but gather the wheat into my granary." See, it is going to be the reapers that come out, and the reapers will know who is who. At the time of the first Exodus, Israel was very immature, hard-hearted, and steeped in pagan cultural traditions. They were deeply entangled and enslaved, so much so that it would require Yahweh to break them out. Today, we find ourselves in a similar state. In our day and age, we are encouraged by seeing an awakening of many of us coming to his truth and choosing to unlearn the lies promoted by the traditions of man, either knowingly or unknowingly. By coming together and honoring Yahusha during his feasts, we show our desire in knowing how to rightly divide his word of truth. We have heard the voice of the Good Shepherd telling us to come out of her, my people, and we chose to come to his table and be fed.
שמעתי את קולך
Matthew 28, verse 1. But late in the Sabbath, as it was dawning into day 1 of the week, Miriam from Magdala and the other Miriam came to see the tomb. Okay, so Matthew chapter 28, verse 1. Let's read that again. But late in the Sabbath, and there's a footnote to that, one of the Sabbaths, okay? So, but late in the Sabbath, as it was dawning into day 1 of the week, Miriam from Magdala and the other Miriam came to see the tomb. And I'm going to continue and read verse 2 through 10. And see, there was a great earthquake, for a messenger of Yahweh came down out of heaven and came and rolled back the stone from the door and sat on it. And his appearance was like lightning, and his garments as white as snow. And the guards trembled for fear of him and became like dead men. And the messenger responding said to the women, "Do not be afraid, for I know that you seek Yahusha who was impaled. He is not here, for he was raised, as he said. Come, see the place where the master lay, and go quickly, say to his taught ones that he was raised from the dead, and see, he is going before you to Galilee. There you shall see him. See, I have told you." And they left the tomb quickly with fear and great joy, and ran to report to his taught ones. And as they were going to report to his taught ones, see, Yahusha met them, saying, "Greetings." And they came and held him by the feet and did bow to him. Then Yahusha said to them, "Do not be afraid. Go, report to my brothers to go to Galilee, and they shall see me there." We also read in Exodus chapter 12 that on the 10th of this month, they are each one to take a lamb for themselves. Your lamb shall be without blemish, a male of the first year. We can all agree upon Yahusha being the Lamb of Elohim, the lamb that was slain. I believe we can all agree on that, correct? And we can all agree that Yahusha fit the requirement of being without blemish. Absolutely. No question there. However, when it comes to explaining how Yahusha also met the requirement of being a male lamb of the first year, makes many take pause. How can that be? Usually, this part may go unexplained. However, there was a work done by Michael Rood called the Chronological Gospels, and that offers insights that have always been right before our very eyes. What is often missed is when Yahusha is identified as the Lamb. This took place at the time of Yahusha's mikvah, or baptism, by John the Immerser. And John stated, "Behold the Lamb," to his disciples. Thus, this priestly transference mikvah was the starting point of Yahusha's ministry as the Lamb, as he was fulfilling all righteousness under the book of the law and ushering in the new covenant. Therefore, we see his ministry begin as the Lamb. That's very important to denote the beginning of his ministry as the Lamb. But when was the ending point of his earthly ministry as the Lamb? The ending point would be the sending of the Comforter, the Holy Spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh at Pentecost. Thus, the time span from his water mikvah to the fire of the Ruach HaKodesh sent on Pentecost was a 490-day timeline. By these two anchor events, we see Yahusha's ministry as the Lamb from water baptism to the fire of Pentecost was greater than a year and less than 2 years, which met the appropriate age of a qualified Passover lamb. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. So we read in Exodus 12:3, in the 10th day of this month, and the first month is the month of Aviv. They shall take to them every man a lamb. Your lamb shall be without blemish, a male of the first year. Yahusha, the Lamb of Elohim, was chosen or selected by the people as he rode into Jerusalem on a donkey at the beginning of the Passion Week. He had already been identified as the Lamb of Elohim by John the Immerser. In Matthew 21:5, we read, "Say to the daughter of Zion, see, your sovereign is coming to you, meek and sitting on a donkey, even a colt, the foal of a donkey." And in Matthew 21:9, and the crowds who went before and those who followed cried out, saying, "Hosanna to the Son of David. Blessed is he who is coming in the name of Yahweh. Hosanna in the highest." I wanted to put our calendar on this slide just to review it for those that may be new to trying to determine the days of the feast. And I just want to briefly review this. This is the calendar put out by Torah to the Tribes. This is the 2024 calendar. We see here on the Gregorian calendar of March 29th, you see 1/10. So that is the 10th day of the first month. So that was this past Friday. That was the day that they were to choose the lamb. That was the day that Yahusha rode into Jerusalem on the donkey. And this is the beginning of the spring feast that to this day we observe. Next, this is what we're celebrating tonight, Passover. It falls on the 2nd of April on the Gregorian calendar, but it's the 14th day of the first month. So you see the numbers on each square, correct? Okay. Then, and this is based on the dawn day start. You know, the Judeans would start their day evening to evening, but there's been much study on the calendar, and the covenant calendar, we realize now, is a dawn day start. When the night starts breaking into the next day, that twilight is breaking into the next day. That's when the day begins. So after tonight, when the day starts tomorrow, that will begin the 15th, okay? It's not midnight to midnight as the Roman calendar does, and it's not evening to evening as Judean calendars do. And there's so many calendars out there. And so just be mindful of that. But this is a dawn day start calendar. So today we see on April 2nd, which is the 14th day of the first month, is Passover. Next, you see that we will observe 7 days of unleavened bread. And so that is numbered right there from the 15th, the 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th, and the 21st. It's 7 days of unleavened bread. That's time to have some introspection to our lives, and also remove things in our home that are not pleasing to him. I did a recent study on the message of the leaven. You can go back and look at that. I'm not going to go into great detail of that, but by removing leaven from our home, that can also include literature that is not biblical. Maybe it's outdated. Maybe it's from someone that now you know, well, they really didn't have it right. And so those things need to be removed. Any secular magazines and articles and stuff that are not pleasing to Yahweh, then that can be removed from your home. It's 7 days to reflect on your life, on your home, and is there anything that you can do to draw closer to him that would be pleasing to him? I mean, we are saved by faith through grace, not of works, but we just are using this time to evaluate our lives and our homes and just draw closer to him. And next, we have the wave sheaf or first fruit offering. Yahusha was the first fruit offering. He was resurrected on the Sabbath as it was dawning into the first day of the week, and he ascended on what would have been a Sunday. That would have been a first fruit offering, and first fruit offering always occurs on a Sunday, as you see here. Now, that also initiates the counting of the omer, okay? And that is showing our maturity, our growth because we all start at the foot of the crucifixion tree, correct? And so we start and we come to him just as we are. But every year we are in that sanctification process of maturing, of growing, and we count the omer 7 weeks of 7 days. And you see an overlap here. Let me get my laser so you can see. So the omer count, you see it's numbered here the 4th, but they couldn't put it in these blocks. But the first day of the omer count is on the 7th of the April, but it's actually on the 19th of the first month. So it's 1, 2, 3, and then you can see them pick up the count here. So we do 7 weeks of counting of the omer. After you count 7 weeks of 7, that's 49 days. And that will lead us to right there on May 26th. That's Pentecost. That's Shavuot. Okay. And that's when they wave the 2 raised loaves of bread, representing the 2 houses, the house of Judah and the house of Israel, that will one day be combined into one bread. So that's just a very simplistic view of the spring feast. Synchronizing the Gospels and following calendars can be rather challenging, even due to the translation in the Bible. And this excerpt that I pulled from the Passover of the Master 2016 that Matthew Nolan did explains some of those challenges. And what we're going to see is that not only did we have some issues with the calendar, when does the day start? Does it start at dawn? Does it start in the evening? Oh my, what calendar do I go by? We will see that that didn't only affect us today, it even affected the people in the days of Yahusha. And we'll see why. And Matthew explains this very briefly and concisely, just to give you an idea that they too were looking at 2 calendars. And this was in 2016.
There was evening to evening reckoning was occurring at the very same time that others were observing sunrise to sunrise. You see, the Jews, or the Feast of the Jews, as it's put in the Gospel of Yochanan, notice that term, the Feast of the Jews. And we were like, well, hang on a minute. These aren't the feasts of the Jews. These are the feasts for all Israel, right? This is not specifically for the Jews. What does he mean, the Feast of the Jews? They're the feasts of Yahweh, right? How many of you have said that over the years? I know I have, because people come up to you and say, oh, I see. Oh, so you do those Jewish feasts then? You're like, no, they're not the feasts of the Jews. They're like, oh, yes, they are. Look what it says here in the King Jimmy. And you're like, no, they're the feasts of Yahweh. They're for all Israel and for the stranger that wants to graft in and join in and produce the same righteous holy fruit that the pagan nonsense you're doing with your Easter. That's what I would do. That's why I have no friends. Except for you, holy, righteous ones. What better friends can a man have, right? But you see, we do come across this term, the Feast of the Jews, in the Besorah of Yochanan, in the Gospel of John. But it was the Judean evening to evening reckoning that is talking about. The Feast of the Jews means the Judeans, those in Judea, were reckoning the feasts at a certain time, which was an evening to evening reckoning, as opposed to those in Galilee that kept a sunrise to sunrise calendar, and they reckoned the feasts according to that calendar. So the Gospel of John is actually talking about the evening to evening calendar and the way they recognize the day, whereas the other writers who don't target the Feast of the Jews are talking about a Galilean method, which was the sunrise to sunrise reckoning. Now, I'll only quote the Talmud when it is beneficial to me. Talmud, the Mishnah, Pesachim 4:5, it is written, in Judea, they used to work to midday on the eves of Passover. But in Galilee, they used to do nothing at all. In what concerns the night between the 13th and the 14th of Nisan, the school of Shammai forbid any work. But the school of Hillel permitted until sunrise. And I think we may have a graph, something that we can pop up and show you. And you can have time to download these in the notes afterwards, because there's a lot of information. You'll need to most probably meditate on these picture graphs. But this text was cited by Dr. Harold Hohner from the Dallas Theological Seminary to show that they reckoned in Galilee from sunrise to sunrise, yet in Judea the Jews reckoned from evening to evening. The feasts of the Jews from evening to evening. And this understanding is going to clear up the apparent discrepancies that we see through the Gospels.
So clearly he was sharing that in Galilee, they observed a dawn to dawn day start, and the Judean calendar at that time, they followed evening to evening. And this affected the perspective of the writings of the Gospels. So that's where some of that confusion can come into play. So now we are about to observe lighting of the menorah and the Passover elements. And truly, we have all started at the foot of the crucifixion tree. And as we go through the feasts each year, we grow in maturity. And like I said, we start at the foot of the cross, and by the time we get to Pentecost, we should have grown stronger in our faith. We are becoming the two raised loaves of bread, representing the two houses that he is bringing back together as the one new man, with Yahusha HaMashiach, Jesus the Messiah, as the head. Now, in the invitation, I asked that you gather some elements. You may have a shofar, you have your Passover bread, Passover wine, grape juice, menorah, have a lighter, have a basin and towels, and that's all you will need, okay? The lighting of the menorah will take place first, and feel free to blow your shofar. And in Revelation chapter 1, verse 4, we read, "Favor to you and peace from him who is and who was and who is coming, and from the seven spirits that are before his throne." And the seven lights on the menorah represents his seven spirits. It also represents his feast days. It also represents him being hung on the crucifixion tree with two thieves beside him. The menorah represents so much. And this menorah is the true believer's symbol. So I'm going to stop share, and I'm going to start lighting the menorah. So I believe you all can see the menorah behind me. Okay. All right. And what you want to do is light the middle candle first. And then light the other candles right to left. And nowadays you see a lot of 9-branch Hanukkahs, but the true symbol of our faith is the menorah. So don't get confused and purchase a 9-branch Hanukkah.
Ouch.
And if you light your menorah, be sure to shine your camera on it so we can see it and enjoy it too. Oh, look at that. That was beautiful. Mary, I love yours.
Yeah, the other one's burning out, so I got a chance to put new ones in.
Oh, those are beautiful.
So
Does
there's
anybody
yours.
have your shofar? Now I haven't blown my shofar in a while, so yeah, y'all help me out.
I can't blow it too loud because Roy's sleeping, but I'll try.
Daryl, thank you. If you can help me out, you got to unmute. Daryl.
Come on, ladies.
Wow, that's the best I've ever blown it. All right, all right, Donna. I heard you, Donna. Thanks, Daryl. Awesome. All right. That's great. I see you're all right. Sorry, let me hide this.
He said, "This is my body," as he held up the bread. "Each time you eat of it, remember that I was broken for you, just like the bread. My body broken just for you. And this is my blood." He took the cup and said, "Each time you drink of it, remember that it's a token of the blood I shed. Or take the cup I pour for you, a new covenant I give to you, poured out my love so you could live my life. Always remember that I died for you when you eat of the bread and drink the wine." He said, "This is my body," as he held up the bread. Each time you eat of it, remember that I was broken for you, just like the bread. My body broken just for you. And this is my blood. He took the cup and said, each time you drink of it, remember that it's a token of the blood I shed. Oh, take the cup I pour for you. A new covenant I give to you. Poured out my love so you could live my life. Always remember that I died for you. When you eat of the bread and drink the wine. For I am the Passover Lamb, the one prophesied. I came to be the sin offering, the final sacrifice. The new covenant I give to you. Poured out my love so you could live my life. Always remember that I died for you. When you eat of the bread and drink the wine. A new covenant I give to you. Poured out my love so you can live my life. Always remember that I died for you. When you eat of the bread and drink the wine. Always remember that I died for you. When you eat of the bread and drink the wine. When you eat of the bread and drink the wine.
Now we will observe the Melchizedek covenant confirming meal in Matthew chapter 26, verse 26. And as they were eating, Yahusha took bread and having blessed, broke and gave it to the taught ones and said, take, eat. This is my body. Now, the bread in Matthew chapter 26, 26 is defined as artos in Greek, and it means bread as raised or a loaf. Bread, showbread. So Yahusha was showing them and introducing them to the Melchizedek covenant confirming meal, because he has made us now a kingdom of priests. Do we really comprehend that? He has, by entering into this covenant with him, he has once again elevated the Melchizedek priesthood back to its reigning position. And he has made us a kingdom of priests, plural, from every tribe, from every tongue, from every nation, from every people. So no matter where we are scattered all over this earth, we should be observing the same feast days that are our wedding rehearsals with our groom. And we know these are so important because Yahusha moves and acts on his moedim, his appointed times with his bride. And what bride would not want to be at her wedding rehearsal? Who would want to miss the wedding rehearsal? So Yahusha blessed the bread and broke it. And there's a blessing on this screen as well. And I'll just say the blessing over the bread as you gather your bread and the elements. Blessed are you, Yahuwah Eloheinu, King of the universe, who brings forth bread from the earth in the name of Yahusha HaMashiach. Amen. I'm going to stop share for a moment. And we are going to get our bread. So you have your bread. And you can break it. And this is the bread representing his body that we have blessed. And you may partake. And in Matthew 26, verse 27 through 29, and taking the cup and giving thanks, he gave it to them, saying, drink from it, all of you, for this is my blood, that of the new covenant, which is shed for many for the forgiveness of sins. But I say to you, I shall certainly not drink of this fruit of the vine from now on till that day when I drink it anew with you in the reign of my Father. And now we bless the wine grape juice. Blessed are you, Yahuwah Eloheinu, King of the universe, who creates the fruit of the vine in the name of Yahusha HaMashiach. Amen. So this represents his blood that was shed for us, that of the new covenant. And this is confirming that you have said yes to his proposal. So we have blessed the wine and we give thanks in remembrance of his shed blood for us. Now we'll proceed to foot washing. In John chapter 13, verse 2 through 7, and supper taking place, the devil having already put it into the heart of Judas from Iscariot, son of Shimon, to deliver him up. Yahusha, knowing that the Father had given all into his hands, and that he had come from Elohim and was going to Elohim, rose from supper and laid aside his garments, and having taken a towel, he girded himself. After that, he put water into a basin and began to wash the feet of the taught ones, and to wipe them with the towel with which he was girded. And so he came to Shimon Kepha, Simon Peter, and he said to him, Master, do you wash my feet? Yahusha answered and said to him, You do not know what I am doing now, but you shall know after this. This was a major shift that probably we missed in most of our Christian lifetime. This is showing that we have removed our sandals that we once walked in. And sandals always represent authority. So when we remove our sandals for him, when we remove our shoes and socks and our sandals, that's a representation of us removing the authority that we once walked in over our own lives and submitting his authority to be over our lives. Foot washing is a symbolic priestly affirmation, recognizing that a priestly transference has taken place. See, we're entering in his new covenant to make us his kingdom of what? His kingdom of priests, plural. Because what he was moving us from being under the harsh schoolmaster of the book of the law that the Aaronic Levitical Priesthood was administering due to the sin of the golden calf. It was very harsh. It was a very harsh schoolmaster, but it spared their lives because after the sin of the golden calf, Yahusha was ready to wipe them out. He told Moses, I'll just start over with you. But he had mercy because Moses interceded. He had mercy. And even though 3,000 died that day, he gave them the book of the law as the harsh schoolmaster because they had broken the covenant. He had wanted to make them a kingdom of priests in Exodus 19 at the foot of Mount Sinai, did he not? The first marriage covenant exists from Exodus 19:4 through Exodus 24:11. It contained all four elements. He proposed to them. They accepted. They said, all that you have said we will do. Moses did the blood ratification. And then they had a covenant confirming meal in Exodus 24:9 through 11. But within 40 days, before Moses could come down from the mountain, what happened? They went back to their Egyptian ways. They went back to their cultural ways. And they talked Aaron into carving a golden calf. And that is no different than us following worldly, man-made feast. Because that light bulb went off in all of our heads and we said, oh my, I see it now. It's a big deal. Is he going to be harsh to them? And are we to think that we can do the same? And he thinks, oh, that's okay because that's not what it means to me. We don't go by what it means to us. We go by what it means to him and what his word says. And it's our heart's desire to do according to his word. So that when the Aaronic Levitical priesthood was instituted to administer the book of the law, that was only to be done until Yahusha could once again elevate the Melchizedek priesthood back to its reigning position and offer us that new covenant. Yahusha was performing the priestly induction service back to the Melchizedek order from the Aaronic Levitical order with his disciples. In him, we are now a kingdom of priests from every tribe, tongue, people, and nation, and no longer under the Aaronic Levitical priesthood that was a nation with a priest. And it was formed to administer the book of the law until Yahusha would usher in the new covenant. So in John 13:8, Peter said to him, "By no means shall you wash my feet ever." Yahusha answered him, "If I do not wash you, you have no part with me." You cannot become a priest without being washed. You just can't. And the foot washing is symbolizing that we have been washed by the blood of the Lamb. And by washing each other's feet, this is our personal testimony to one another that we have entered into that new covenant and he has washed us. And if you look back in Exodus, you will see that Moses performed the priestly transference from Melchizedek because Melchizedek was from the very beginning, starting with Adam. Adam was the first Melchizedek. So we will also see Moses performing the priestly transference from Melchizedek to the Aaronic Levitical priesthood in Exodus 29:4, after the people had sinned with the golden calf. In Exodus 29:4, we read, "Then you shall bring Aaron and his sons to the door of the tent of appointment and wash them with water." See, they had to be consecrated. You know, when Moses and Aaron was leading the people out of Egypt, Yahweh was speaking to Aaron, was he not? He was speaking to both Aaron and Moses. When did Yahweh stop speaking to Aaron? He stopped speaking to Aaron after the sin of the golden calf. So because Moses was up on the mount, he was nowhere in the sin of the golden calf festival that they put on. He was still consecrated to Yahweh. So was Joshua. That's when Moses set up his tent outside the camp. It was only him and Joshua in it. And so Yahweh worked through Moses to consecrate Aaron and his sons so Yahweh could communicate once again to Aaron. But things would be totally changed. It would be totally different. Now they'd be under this harsh schoolmaster until Yahusha would come. So knowing that, this is what we'll do now. We'll do the foot washing. So you'll have a basin that you can put on the floor and get your towels. And get your pitcher of water. And remove your sandals, remove your socks and shoes. And if you're by yourself, you can do this by yourself because Yahusha is always with us. And so Carol Ann, just put your feet in the basin. Okay. And here's a towel. All right. Next, we'll listen to a praise song and then we'll have some fellowship time prior to listening to the introduction to Galatians. It's a teaching by Matthew Nolan, and it's my hope that we'll probably do Galatians, the introduction and part 1, and hopefully through the Days of Unleavened Bread, you can finish that series because it's so excellent and it teaches so much. It's a teaching that you really do not want to miss.
For my waking breath, for my daily bread, I depend on you. I depend on you for the sun to rise, for my sleep at night. I depend on you. Yes, I depend on you. You're the way, the truth, and the life. You're the well that never runs dry. I'm the branch and you are the vine. Draw me close and teach me to abide. Where the Spirit leads, as I'm following, I depend on you. Yes, I depend on you for the victories still in front of me. Yes, I depend on you. Yes, I depend on you. You're the way, the truth, and the life. You're the well that never runs dry. I'm the branch and you are the vine. Draw me close and teach me to abide. Be my strength, my song in the night. Be my all, my treasure, my prize. I am yours forever, you're mine. Draw me close and teach me to abide. Oh, when I pass through death, as I enter rest, I depend on you. Yes, I depend on you for eternal life, to be raised with Christ. Oh, I depend on you. Yes, I depend on you. You're the way, the truth, abide. Oh, would you teach me, oh God? Would you teach me? Would you teach me to abide? Yes, teach me now. Yes, even now, teach us to abide. Yes, teach us. Oh, even now, would you teach us? I depend on you. I depend on you. I depend on you. I depend on every moment. I depend on you. Oh, I depend on every hour. I depend on you. Oh, I depend on you. So we depend on you.
As his kingdom of priests, we should live our lives as a living sacrifice devoted to Yah. We should pray often and intercede for others as we enter his gates with thanksgiving and his courts with praise. May you continue to be blessed as we honor this year in remembrance of him by keeping his Sabbaths and his feast, because his return draws nigh. Numbers chapter 6, 22 through 27. And Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to Aaron and his sons, saying, This is how you bless the children of Israel. Say to them, Yahweh bless you and guard you. Yahweh make his face shine upon you and show favor to you. Yahweh lift up his face upon you and give you peace. Thus they shall put my name on the children of Israel, and I myself shall be blessed. Shalom and many blessings.